Travis Wingoodsell. Alrighty, so we have a 7-day week, and nobody takes consideration for what each day of the week means. And so we come to the Sabbath day, and we don't think of the meaning of the name Sunday attached to the Sabbath. We have no clue of the historical origins of why it's on Sunday, and yet the Jews are having their Sabbath on Saturday, and what the name of Saturday means, and so there's lots of things that we do not know and we don't research and find out. So I'm going to bore you with bombshell breaking news research so that I can punish you for listening to my channel and learning something. So, the 7-day week originates with the Babylonians, 600 BCE. And it's a little earlier than that when they got started and overthrew Assyria. But it's just rounded off to 600 BCE. And the reason for the development of the 7-day week calendar was because they were a very superstitious people, very idolatrous. And the number 7 was a bad luck number. And so with the 7th day of the week, the 7th day is a bad luck day because it's the 7th day of their week. And so there was order issued that no one is allowed to work on the 7th day because it's a bad luck number on a bad luck day of the week. And so now you can see why it's the 7th day of creation in the Bible. Is because it's from the Babylonian culture after the Jews were assimilated by Babylon with the Babylonian captivity. And thus becomes the Jewish Sabbath. Now I know the book of Daniel is trying to tell Jews not to be assimilated into anything Babylon. Oops. Everything Jewish is from Babylon. But you have to weed out the Babylonian influences from the Torah and from other scriptures to identify their actual origins, which are Egyptian. But we're not discussing that in this video again. And so during the Roman period, when the Torah is written, the rest of the Bible and the New Testament, the Romans had a Julian calendar, and they had a theology of gods, and they had stories about their gods, which were their scriptures. And so they had temples to the various gods, and rituals were performed in the temples, as all good religions would do. It was Christianity that referred to them as pagan, evil heathens, because of what Constantine did at the Nicene Council with the Nicene Creed, establishing Jesus as the name for the Christian Christ, making him a literal historical character in the Roman period writings of apocalyptic literature, like the book of Revelation is apocalyptic literature. Well, Yeah, so were the Gospels. They weren't called Gospels originally. And and so nobody is going to find an original Gospel to the author just during the Christ's time period, as sort of indicated, with multiple years, even some that are currently going on in our modern day, because Constantine created him as a real historical person rather than a literary character in apocalyptic literature. And Constantine also had to settle the dispute among the bishops as to the nature and character of Jesus, and created a brand new word that has no meaning because he created it, homuzion. Also homuzius, depending on how it's used in a sentence. And so you can go to the Wikipedia page and see the Greek translation, or the Greek text, with the English translation, and consubstantial, whatever. Yeah, throw that out. There is no translation for it. And so, another thing about Constantine is later on, he designated the first day of the week, Sunday, the day of the sun, as the Sabbath. It took some time to catch on. Christians were still immersed in Saturn Day, the day of Saturn, as the Sabbath. And so they held two different celebration days, one to appease Constantine and one to appease tradition. And then eventually over time things changed, and various Christian groups do different things on Saturday or just on Sunday or both, etc. And so, yeah, Saturn is a Roman deity and was the name for the seventh day of the week. He is the father of Jupiter. And so when you read your Torah about the creation of heaven and earth, and you get to the seventh day, and you see God finished the heavens and the earth and he rested, it's a cultural appropriation of Babylon with the Roman Empire. Because the Jews were assimilated, and then the Romans took over, and then the Romans just applied the Roman god names to the days of the week, and so Saturday is the day of Saturn, the day of rest, the day God rested, having created heaven and earth. Saturn is the guy. Saturn is the guy. Da, 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 da. Not Venus. And so the son of Saturn is Jupiter. And Jupiter is well known, as you've been watching my videos, as the sign in the heaven representation of the likeness on earth of the Christ. Because he retrogrades in a pregnancy period in each of the constellations as he goes around, and it's about 10 years to do a full cycle, plus or minus a year. And so 2017 he was in Virgo, and then 23rd of September was born out of Virgo, fulfilling the sign given by John in Revelation chapter 12. And the Book of Mormon, 1 Nephi chapter 1. And so as I did the birth of the Mormon Christ in 1970, that shows you how it's a 10 period plus or minus years, because there's 3 years difference when Jupiter was born from Virgo in 1970. What's also interesting for you to know is the Roman god Saturn is the equivalent of the Greek god Zeus. And Zeus has the symbolisms comparable with Jupiter rather than Saturn, but his children are Hercules and Perseus, who fly on Pegasus, and John in Revelation chapter 19. Look at that. Isn't that interesting? And as I'm the one who made this discovery, as being the one who deciphered Paleo-Hebrew, the Zeus, the masculine singular ending is us, so cut that off, and you have Za, Z-E, Zeh. It is pictorially the same as the Hebrew god Yah. And since Yod for Yah is Semitic Hebrew, in other words, Babylonian Hebrew, assimilated Paleo-Hebrew, the original Paleo-Hebrew is actually a Z for Zeta in Greek. And so Zeus and Yah, which should actually be Za, which is Za in Greek, they're the same god, same deity, same name. It's just the Greeks add the masculine singular ending at the end of it. And so Yah is Zeus. Za, that's the Hebrew god. And there has been archaeological discoveries that show Baal as the brother of Yah. So if they're brothers, what's the name of their father? Yeah, and so you can see that Sun Day is actually for the sun, but the sun is the sun at noonday reference, and so yes, the Father, who is the king, is on the throne at the sun at noonday, and that comes from the Egyptian Amen, which I've gone over with you is our Christ in Mormonism. And it's the same word as Melchizedek, and yet Melchizedek is what we use to say the name, to avoid the too frequent repetition of Amen. And so this is something to keep in mind when you're doing your study and research on the so-called Jesus guy, because Mormons believe that Jesus was born on the 6th of April, 1 AD, right? And that was Passover, right? Because the scriptural story says the Passover, and there was accounting needing to be done, and so there was the two birds with one stone thing, as they have to go to Jerusalem to be counted at the same time that she's pregnant and is about to give birth. They have to go to the land of their nativity. And it's also Passover. So going to cgsf.org/dbeatte/calendar/question/Roman, and then I've got it already set at year 1 in the Roman year. The Passover begins on the 14th of Nisan at 6 p.m. and goes for about a week. And on that year, that's the evening of the 25th of April. Uh-oh, Mormons. Uh-oh. Well, I guess we'll just have our spiritual witnesses rewrite Jewish calendars, because they're wrong, obviously. So we can check year 2. Nope. The evening of April 15th. We can check year 3. There we go. Sort of. The evening of April 4th. And so the second day of Passover is the 6th of April. And it's a Friday. Oops. And 4th, it's the evening of the 23rd. But what's interesting about the 4th, year 4, is that on April 8th, there was a total solar eclipse. 2,020 years earlier than the one we're about to have on 8 April 2024. That's going to cross in southern Illinois. So, yeah, this is kind of important to have access to when you're doing your research. Because otherwise you'll go around telling people that Jesus was born on the 6th of April 1 AD during Passover and be lying to people. And you don't want to be known as a liar from a religion that has you go around lying to people about your religion, do you? And by the way, the year 4 is 600 years from the time Lehi left Jerusalem, had it been a real, literal history story. And all of us who do this kind of research to fact check and do literary analysis know the Book of Mormon is not literal history. So there's something else being mentioned there. And so to mention 600 years from the first year of the reign of King Zedekiah places it at 8 April 22 or 4, which is because he refers to 8 April 2024 in that same chapter, 1 Nephi chapter 1. So he refers to that solar eclipse over Russia as well as the one over America that crosses the one on Monson's birthday, the first new year of the Egyptian religious calendar, 21st of August 2017. Month before, John's sign given in Revelation chapter 12 of the woman giving birth, 23rd September 2017. You're starting to see where we're going with this, how it's important to actually study, not just read and assume things that aren't real, simply because your spiritual witness told you to believe as such. And so, having the internet up on my screen. And so, what is it about this ascension of this so-called Jesus, who is supposed to be named Amen, but the biblical authors just said, nah, screw Amen, screw Isaiah, we're going to name him the reverse of Isaiah, Yahshua, instead of Shuayah for Isaiah. So, chapter 26, the president of the Church of the Jews and the seer, which are supposed to be one and the same, aren't they? Both deny and have this not Amen murdered. They brought him before Caiaphas, consulted that they might take Jesus by subtlety and murder him. It's incorrect translation to say kill. And so this was the evening of Passover. And I should have kept it on the screen. So, Jewish calendar, Roman year 33, would be for year 1, but we know that can't be correct. But, April 6th is on Passover that year. It's the 3rd day, but it's a Monday. And the 10th is on Friday. And so this can't be according to the Jewish record, because Passover ends on Saturday, and then the new week is on Sunday when he ascends, depending on the gospel. And so let's then check 34. Yeah, no. Evening of the 21st is Passover. And so if you're wondering, it's not going to be on his birthday, which we've already dismissed as his birthday, because he doesn't exist anyway, because I already told you he was created by Constantine. And so evening of the 11th, and 35, and we'll finish with 36. No. Evening of March 30th, and ends on the 6th, which is a Friday. So, nope. We didn't check to see which one ends on Saturday. Okay, and it's possible. Well, no, it can end on a Saturday because it can start on a Saturday. Okay, no. Yeah, none of these end on a Saturday. This is also very interesting. Raindrops keep falling on my head. La 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 la. So now I'm going back in time, trying to find out where the Sabbath ends on a Saturday, and we are running out of dates. Is it ever possible to end on a Saturday? Did the Bible stories tell the story incorrectly? Oh, here we go. There we go. Year 29. Huh. Well, that would mean if he's 33 years old, that 1, 2, 3, 4. It would be 4 BCE when he was born. Well, this is weird. So yeah, the evening of the Sabbath, April 16th, has the Sabbath ending on the 23rd. That's according to the biblical narratives. So, wow. I'm going to take note of that. I'm going to have to shut down the video and check the stellarium for 4 BCE. I'm pretty sure I've already checked it, but let's see, 4 BCE with 29. You're going to let me snapshot. Raindrops keep falling on my head. Yes, you did. Excellent. Okay. Let me stop this, and I'll come back. Nope. In 5 BCE, which is -4, I should be checking negative. Well, yeah. There is, on the 6th of April, a partial solar eclipse. Wrong sign. But we need to check 3, don't we? No. Evening of the 11th of April starts Passover. So, nope. You can't have Jesus born on Passover and die on his birthday. Just can't happen. Nope. So, you'll have to pick one if you're not going to just give up and go, okay, it's not literal history. Let's figure out what else it's trying to tell me. Because we don't want to listen to Travis's video, because he's always right. And it's upsetting that he's always right. Even though that was his career field, his educational field. He's the expert. We hate experts. We want our spiritual feelings back. We want to deny science. We want to deny truth. And so, the president of the church, the high priest, and the seer seeks to murder the Christ in apocalyptic literature. Huh. It's interesting. And eat the Passover, made ready the Passover, 12, and yeah, then Judas, which betrayed him, answered and said, Master, is it I? Wait a minute, he betrayed him, but not yet? Well, yeah, he did. It was the 30 pieces of silver previous in the chapter. One of the 12, Judah, which is phonetically the same as Utah. The president of the church seeks to murder the Christ, and Utah betrays him to have him murdered. See where we're going with this, Mormons? Passover, which has no basis in reality for what you're trying to claim. Something else is going on here. Exodus. And so, yes, 19 July 1840, Joseph Smith comes out and says, you of the 12 will murder me. You are very bloodthirsty, and like them of old, you will ask, is it I? Is it I? Wonder where he got that from. Alrighty, so it's not the Mount of Olives. We're doing the Ascension on this one, aren't we? So we're not doing the whole murder thing. Alright. Christ is mocked. Oh, wait, section 45 talks about that too, of a future Christ who is mocked. But by Jews? Joseph Smith says it's a parable, and Mormons instead of Jews. Wonder where he got that from. And so, okay. So it's 3 days. Destroy the temple and build it in 3 days. Let's see. Oh, Son of God. What? Here we go. And so about the 9th hour, and 3 p.m. is what they're claiming. But he's saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Who's his God? Saturn. When is evening for the next day? Friday at 6 p.m. Which is supposed to be the last day of Passover. So Saturday, which would be Friday night, is when God abandons the Christ. See how this works? This is the Saturday, the day of Saturn, the father of the Christ, Jupiter. Jupiter is the person represented as Jesus in this passage instead of Jupiter. Because if we were to put it into the Roman theology stories, you'd have Saturn, Saturn, why hast thou forsaken me? And Zeus, Zeus cried with a loud voice, saying, Saturn, Saturn, why hast thou forsaken me? See how we did this? And so it's Friday evening, the next day, which would be Saturday, the day of Saturn. And so there's Mary, his wife, which in Egyptian Mary is love. Behold my beloved son. So his mother's name is also Mary, the son of Mary in Egyptian. Okay, Mary sitting over against the sepulchre. Now the next day, follow the preparations of the priests gathered into Pilate, deceiver, sealing stone, and set a watch. Alright, so chapter 28 in Matthew. In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn, see? No more Sabbath. First day of the week. That would have to be the 29th CE, 29th year, came Mary, his wife, and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. Is it his mother? Who? The other Mary? Two loves? Maybe he was a polygamist, like Brigham Young said he was. And behold, there was a great earthquake. Well, that's for the latter days. What's going on? The day of the sun, the first day of the week, and there's a great earthquake. So the millennium, Revelation chapter 6, a great earthquake. For the angel of the Lord descended out of heaven. Yeah, there's a sign in the heavens star date that we just received here. Ascension has to do, or risen from the grave, is ascension to heaven, represented by a sign in the heavens. I wonder if 3 Nephi chapter 11 verse 8 is similar to this. Somebody descending out of heaven to the land bountiful in America with the Nephi, not Moroni, son of Nephi, who is given the keys of the kingdom to rule for a millennial reign of 400 years of peace, though technically only 300, and then things got chaotic, and by the 400th year, the Nephites collapsed. Literal history, of course. And so, oh look, his countenance was as Jupiter, lightning. Interesting. Jupiter. Coming from outer space, in a pillar of light, as a sign in the heavens, as Revelation chapter 19 says it should be riding on Pegasus. Where's the horse? I don't see the horse. You see what's going on here? Revelation told a different type of story than Matthew. And the Book of Mormon tells an even different type of story than both Matthew and Revelation. He is risen. And technically this is his second coming. Because Matthew 24, he keeps saying, or the apostles ask, when are you coming back? Are you coming back? Oh no, you're going? You're going to die? I'm coming back. He came back. In the same text. It wasn't the future, except that the star date that is being given here is 8 April 2024. And so everybody believes he's already come back because it's literal history, but it's not literal history, and he hasn't come back because the date says, right here in the text, in story form, 8 April 2024. 2020 years from 600 years from the time Lehi left Jerusalem, which is in the Book of Mormon. See how fun researching is? Aren't you just bored to tears? Aren't you just going, I can't believe I keep listening to this video. It's so boring. I'm just so compelled to listen. It's so boring. I can't click away and go to another channel to watch somebody who's got more pleasing to my itching ears, who will teach me how to make coffee or mock the religious magic underwear. To learn about the truth. Somebody save me. Calgon, save me. You see, kids, in my day, we had this thing called Calgon. It was for bubble baths. Do you guys still have bubble baths these days? I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. John has extra information. And so that one's a fun one that I've been sharing with you. first day of the week cometh Mary Magdalene, the wife of Jesus, when it is yet dark, unto the sepulchre, and seeth the stone taken away from the sepulchre. Then she runneth, and cometh to Simon Peter, and to the other disciple, whom Jesus loved, and saith unto them, They have taken away my Lord, my master, my owner, wife, out of the sepulchre, and we know not where they have laid him. Peter therefore went forth, and the other disciple, and came to the sepulchre. So they ran both together, and the other disciple did outrun Peter. It was a race. And came first to the sepulchre, and he, stooping down and looking in, saw the linen, the shroud of Turin, clothes lying. Do you now understand how the shroud of Turin is now being perpetuated as a fraud? Yet went he not in. I was a Boy Scout. They had a slide presentation for us at a banquet thing, and I was a Boy Scout invited to this presentation about the shroud of Turin. And he's short, and no, he's over 6 feet tall. Can't be him. Now, I've also found that it was much later, during the period where Christians wanted to emulate the Jesus that was created by Constantine, and die in same-like manner. And so, yeah, it was just another person who was a fanatic who had himself crucified like Christ so that he could be wrapped rather than mummified. If you're gonna replicate a fraud, you need to make sure that every detail is exact as the correct history would have it be. But you can't mix literal history with apocalyptic literature. It just can't work. But anyway, okay, then the disciples went away again unto their own home. But Mary stood without at the sepulchre, weeping. And as she wept, she stooped down and looked into the sepulchre, and seeth 2 angels in white sitting, the one at the head and the other at the feet, where the body of Jesus had lain. And they say unto her, Woman, why weepest thou? She saith unto them, Because they have taken away my Lord, and I know not where they have laid him. And when she had thus said, she turned herself back, and saw Jesus standing. See, he doesn't come from outer space on this one. They are not giving the date here in that manner. Matthew, who told us no man knows the day or the hour, gave the day and the hour. And so here we have Jesus now standing before her. He's risen from the tomb, but he is not yet ascended because of what he says. But she didn't know it was Jesus, and Jesus said unto her, Woman, why are you weeping? Cut it out. Stop crying. Why are you crying? Stop it. Whom seekest thou? She, supposing him to be the gardener, said unto him, Sir, if thou have borne him hence, tell me where thou hast laid him, and I will take him away. Jesus saith unto her, Mary. Love. Precious. It's Valentine's Day. How appropriate I'm doing this video on Valentine's Day. She turned herself and said unto him, Rabboni, which is to say, Master. Jesus saith unto her, Touch me not. Now that is a very G-rated translation, because it's she saw him and went to passionately kiss him. to have the PG-13 version. and he says, touch me not, for I have not yet ascended to my Father. So he calls her woman, not virgin, maiden. She has children. And Mary, which means love in Egyptian, sees him, recognizes him, calls him master, and then goes to have sexual intercourse with him. Is she Mary Magdalene, the adulteress? Trying for another man? Or is Jesus her husband? Well, it's her husband, but it's not a literal history. I have not yet ascended to the throne of my Father, is what's supposed to be put here. And that ascension is 8 April 2024. And the reason why they can't have sex until then is because of what John in Revelation 19 tells us in that same vicinity, the wedding supper feast of the Lamb at the temple, to reference Joseph Smith in Doctrine and Covenants section 58. Ta-da! Then the sign in the heavens corresponds with that event that is talked about in scriptures. So you see how this works? They write apocalyptic literature stories about dates that are right now. All the apocalyptic literature is about our day right now. That's freaky weird. And so, yeah, fun stuff, huh? Aren't you glad you're bored? And thus the reason for the Day of the Sun being the new millennium, where Jesus, the Christ, technically, not Isaiah, Amen, the sun at noonday, so the day of Amen, when he takes over and becomes the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, with his wife, his bride. So there you go.